People like to imagine the future arriving suddenly. One day the world looks familiar, the next day everything is unrecognizable. That idea is comforting because it suggests the future is something that happens later, to someone else. But that's not how the future works. The future doesn't arrive, it accumulates, it builds quietly. Through small decisions, through shortcuts that feel harmless, through problems we delay because they don't hurt yet, until one day you look around and the world you grew up in is gone. Now imagine this. You wake up tomorrow morning, you check the date. It doesn't say 2026, it says the year 2100. The Earth is still here, the oceans still move, the sun still rises, but something feels off. The planet looks familiar, yet nothing feels the same. And here's the uncomfortable truth most people avoid. The version of Earth that exists in 2100 is not decided by people living then. It's decided by what we normalize today. So let's move forward in time, not through fantasy, not through science fiction, but through paths already unfolding. This is what Earth could realistically look like in the year 2100, through technology, travel, space exploration, and human behavior. And as you listen, keep one question in mind. Are we building a future we'd actually want to live in, or just one we're capable of creating? By 2100, technology doesn't feel advanced, not because innovation stopped, but because it stopped asking for attention. Homes regulate themselves automatically. Temperature, lighting, air quality, and energy usage adjust continuously in the background. Walls store power. Windows adapt to sunlight and heat. Furniture responds to posture, stress, and long-term health data. Nothing needs to be turned on. It anticipates you. Artificial intelligence exists everywhere, but nowhere you can point to. It prevents traffic jams before they form. It reroutes energy before grids fail. It predicts infrastructure breakdowns before emergencies happen. On the surface, this looks like success, and it is. But there's a consequence most people don't notice. When technology removes friction from life, it removes excuses. If energy is abundant, information is free, and systems are optimized, then failure no longer feels external. By 2100, the hardest problems aren't technical, they're human. Medicine in 2100 doesn't wait for illness, it predicts it. Biosensors, worn, implanted, or embedded into daily environments, monitor the body constantly. Changes at the cellular level are detected years before symptoms appear. Diseases that once defined entire lifetimes are no longer fatal. Many cancers are detected early and treated precisely. Genetic disorders are corrected before birth. Degenerative diseases are slowed or reversed. People live longer. More importantly, they stay healthier longer. A 70-year-old in 2100 may feel like a 50-year-old today. This sounds like progress, but it creates a strange new pressure. When life stretches out, urgency disappears. Careers last decades. Identities change multiple times. People outlive the goals they once built their lives around. By 2100, the challenge isn't survival, it's direction. What do you do when time stops pushing you forward? By 2100, the idea of a single lifelong career feels outdated. Automation handles most repetitive labor. Manufacturing, logistics, agriculture, and basic services run with minimal human input. Humans aren't obsolete, they're unburdened. Education becomes continuous and adaptive. AI-guided systems evolve alongside the individual. People don't train for jobs, they train for capabilities. Creativity, problem-solving, caregiving, exploration, ethics. This sounds ideal, but there's a deeper question underneath it. When survival is guaranteed, what makes effort meaningful? By the late 21st century, societies aren't struggling with unemployment, they're struggling with purpose. Cities no longer grow outward, they grow upward and inward. Skyscrapers double as ecosystems. Vertical forests regulate temperature and air quality. Rooftops grow food.
Welcome to the future
Underground
of
levels
urban
house
living.
transit, energy, and data
The
infrastructure.
SkyBridge network
Cities become
ensures
quieter.
seamless transit
Autonomous
for all
electric transport
registered
removes
citizens.
most traffic noise. Accidents drop dramatically. Streets are reclaimed for people, not vehicles. But not all cities adapt equally. Those that invested early thrive. Those that didn't struggle to keep up. By 2100, inequality isn't just economic, it's geographic. And climate pressure makes that divide impossible to ignore. By 2100, distance loses much of its meaning. Suborbital point-to-point travel allows people to cross the planet in under an hour. Flights briefly exit the atmosphere before descending on the opposite side of Earth. Hyperfast underground transit systems connect mega-regions at near supersonic speeds. Borders still exist, but movement relies more on digital identity than physical checkpoints. The planet feels smaller. But there's a side effect. When movement becomes effortless, places feel temporary. Humanity becomes more mobile and more detached. By 2100, humanity finally treats the oceans as essential infrastructure. Massive cleanup systems remove plastics accumulated over centuries. Floating research platforms operate in international waters. Underwater habitats allow long-term human presence beneath the surface. Advanced desalination provides clean water without destroying marine ecosystems. This is the optimistic version. But the ocean also tells a harsher story. If warming trends weren't controlled earlier in the century, coral reefs struggle to survive. Marine biodiversity declines. Food chains destabilize. The ocean becomes a living record of past decisions, showing what technology can repair and what it cannot. Energy underpins everything. By 2100, most regions rely on solar, wind, advanced storage, next-generation nuclear, and early-stage fusion. Energy becomes decentralized. Homes, buildings, and cities produce their own power and share excess intelligently. Energy scarcity no longer defines geopolitics. This shift reshapes global power more than any weapon ever could. But abundance creates amnesia. People forget what scarcity felt like, and forgetting has consequences. By 2100, space travel no longer feels heroic. It feels routine. Low Earth orbit is crowded with research stations, manufacturing facilities, and tourism hubs. Reusable spacecraft launch daily. The Moon hosts permanent human outposts, focused on research and preparation for deeper missions. Mars has small but stable human settlements. Not cities, test environments. Mars teaches humanity something Earth never had to. How fragile life becomes without a planet protecting it. People born in space or on other worlds grow up differently. Different gravity, different horizons, different relationship to Earth. For them, Earth isn't just home, it's origin. Seeing Earth from space stops being symbolic. It becomes normal. And when you see your planet from a distance often enough, you stop thinking of it as infinite. At first, Mars settlements are cooperative, scientific, carefully regulated. They're framed as humanity's greatest achievement. But then something familiar happens. Resources gain value. Territory becomes strategic. Supply routes become leverage. Corporate-backed settlements expand faster than public ones. Infrastructure determines power. Control quietly replaces collaboration. Mars has no native population, no government, no voice. And that makes justification easy. This isn't colonialism, humanity tells itself. This is survival. This is progress. But history has a pattern. And by 2100, colonialism doesn't disappear. It relocates. Governments evolve under pressure. Policy decisions are guided by simulations. Outcomes are tested before implementation. Some regions experiment with digital democracy. Others centralize power through technology. Global cooperation increases, not because humanity becomes wiser, but because shared threats demand shared solutions. Climate, pandemics, space governance. No planet can be managed alone. The biggest change by 2100 isn't technological, it's psychological. Humanity stops seeing the future as abstract. Education includes stewardship as a core principle. Space exploration is reframed, not as escape, but as responsibility. Earth is no longer taken for granted, because now everyone understands something clearly. We only get one version of it. Everything you've heard assumes one thing, that pollution is controlled and humanity learns restraint. But what if it doesn't? If pollution continues unchecked, Mars doesn't become a fresh start. It becomes an escape route, a refuge for the wealthy, a pressure valve for mistakes we refuse to fix. Earth becomes a planet people leave. Mars becomes a planet people own. So the real question isn't whether humans can colonize Mars, it's whether we'll bring our worst habits with us. Because if we couldn't protect the only planet that gave us life, what makes us think we'll treat the next one differently?